Everyone, what is going on? Super excited to be here today celebrating 1 year of the podcast. We brought on none other than Hafu. We're so excited to have you on the podcast. Hafu, I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So
It's overdue.
yeah, so I reached out to you like a couple months ago and then just really wanted to bring you on for the first live one because I was looking online and there's some like parts about your origin story in gaming, but I couldn't really find like an in-depth story about how you got started, and I think you have a really interesting path, and so I'm excited to jump in. So without any further ado, Hafu, I have to ask you, when did you start playing games? Did you grow up with games? Was it Nintendo? Tell us about how you got into gaming.
I've always said I started playing games at 14, but I guess I had a Game Boy Color. So if you count, like, I guess Pokemon Gold does count. But I felt like much more of a casual gamer when I was growing up. My sister got a PlayStation, and I would watch her play Final Fantasy VIII. And I only played on her like her save file and like would play the card game. Do you remember what it's called? Like Triple Triad, I think.
Okay.
But I would just play the card game, and I was like much too scared to actually play. I just remember all video games would give me anxiety. Like anytime any action happened, it would like make me really scared.
Like in what way? Like you're like if someone attacked you in a game, you would like would you physically feel, or how would you feel anxious? Like if to describe that to someone.
My heart would race. And I still remember the first time I ever PvP'd in World of Warcraft. My heart was like going crazy. Like it actually felt like super adrenaline. Like whenever I had the flag and I was like running around in Warsun Gulch, I was like, oh my God, like I was, I felt that way for a while. It took me a while to lose that. And I didn't have that feeling again until I started competing, which I miss. I miss that feeling a lot. It's really fun.
So when you describe that feeling, and this is coming from a place of having no idea what that is it like a good feeling or like a bad feeling, or just it is what it is when you feel that rush of anxiety when you're playing a game?
I still can have that anxiety when I feel like out of control or like out of my element. Like I did the bounty for The Last of Us, and I don't really use like controllers. And so David's telling me what button to shoot, and like he's like the bottom left one, and I'm like I'm pressing, nothing's happening, and like not being able to like kill the thing on the screen who's like trying to kill me. I think I paused and gave him the controller. I can't handle that. So it's kind of a bad feeling when it feels out of control, but whenever it's like competing now, it's a really good feeling. It's like a lot of adrenaline in a good way because you can use that energy, right, positively.
So you said you started when you were 14. Did you just watch your sister playing like, hey, this looks like fun? Or did she say, hey, it's your turn? Or did you just kind of jump in? Or because it's like 14 is definitely like a little bit later to like get into games to be as successful as you are, at such a competing high level.
So my boyfriend and my best friend at the time, two different people, both wanted me to play World of Warcraft with them. And so I actually shared an account with my best friend. And we did it summer into high school. And he actually quit the game as soon as school started. And I didn't quit. And it's actually funny. He ended up being class president, got a full ride through Harvard, like did that whole like he's the dream Asian child, like
the traditional path.
Yeah. Okay. The one that my parents wanted. Instead, they got stuck with me, dropped out of high school to play professional World of Warcraft, dropped out of college to streamed. Sorry, Mom.
So your freshman year, you're playing World of Warcraft, and like, are you 100% all in? You're like, are you addicted, or have you got to the PvP part yet, or where are you at? You're entering high school, Warcraft's out. Now what?
Okay, so when I first started playing, actually, it's kind of embarrassing to say this now, but they wanted me to play because anytime there would be a girl, they would get a lot of free stuff in WoW. So they wanted me to be there so that I could get free stuff for them. And I just wanted to play because I wanted to hang out with, the two most important people in my life at that time. And it was actually true too. Back then, people would be so creepy or so nice. It was like always one of the two. Like people never treated you normally, and it was always a conversation if they found out you were a female. So, but I remember stepping back from that. I remember like the first time I logged into WoW, people like they were trying to whisper me, and I couldn't figure out how to reply, and like even like pressing enter first and then like /R, like all this stuff, right? It's like you're learning a million things. You're like learning how to function, right? And I've never like I didn't know how to move my camera. I didn't know how to move. I didn't know that like how you could level, and like there were so many buttons, and I was completely lost.
So what do you think drew that for you to play that game that's like so foreign for someone that, you know, I guess I've never played an MMO before, and to have to manage all these things? Like, was it your friends that drew you there, or what made you want to figure that out and play it?
Yeah, I mean, they would help me. They would come over and we'd play together, and it was a social thing for me at the beginning. And I actually got mono like pretty much like the first 2 months of high school, freshman year of high school, and I couldn't do anything except for like when you have mono, you're awake for like 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I would like wake up, play WoW, and then sleep, and like I got addicted that way, and I literally couldn't do anything else. I couldn't do sports for a year because I think your spleen enlarges or something.
Yeah.
But I couldn't even do I couldn't do gym class. So yeah, I just played WoW a lot, and eventually that boyfriend dumped me, and I got really depressed, and kind of used WoW as my outlet to escape reality. So, as did many people.
So let's assume this is like a 14, 15-year-old Hafu. You know, you're at home, you're playing this. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but say you're getting like really into it and addicted. What is like your parental influence at this time? Are they concerned that you're doing this, or are they you're doing well in school so it doesn't matter, or?
Yeah, I mean, I was an okay student freshman year, so they didn't, as long as I got my work done, they were okay with it. My parents kind of chilled out in high school. But there were many fights. I remember sneaking into my parents' room because they would unplug the router at night, and I would wait until I heard snoring, and then I would sneak in with my freaking flip phone cell phone for light, and I would crawl to the router, plug it back in, crawl back out, and then I have to do that twice a night because you have to unplug it, you know?
Yeah.
And before
to turn it off so your cover wasn't blown when they woke up.
I got caught so much. They started locking the door, but like we had those locks that you just like need a toothpick and it like pops. So I'd like pop, and then like the snoring would stop. I'm like, okay, just wait for the snoring to become heavy again, and then like sneak back in. Oh my God, I got caught so much. So I was a terrible child.
So you wouldn't even let a lock get in your way. So you do that, and then would you play like through like to the morning of school? And would you go to school the next day, or you'd be like, I'm not going to school?
Yeah, I would sleep during class. I don't know. I was really depressed, and WoW made me really hot. Like I had friends in my guild, and like, I don't know. I just felt like I didn't have to worry when I played WoW. It was really sad. It's usually not a happy ending with that kind of story, but luckily I was really good at it. Luckily, it all worked out for me. But yeah, my parents tried. They really did try to like get me to quit. They've tried bribing me with like everything, like anything I want if I quit games. And I don't know, games make me really happy. So yeah.
At any point when your parents are doing this, because it sounds like it's such a unique line of like blurring addiction versus passion. And for you, was there a point when you identified, hey, like this is really what I enjoy doing more so than X, Y, or Z? Or was it like, did it, whatever they say to you, did it ever kind of like seep in and be like, I may be addicted and I should do something else?
I knew I was addicted, and it was like pretty bad for a while. But when TBC, the Burning Crusade, came out, that's when arenas came out. That was really when I started. It became a passion because basically my friends were like, "Oh, you can play with us. You can play with us, no problem," right? but I was really bad. And then they kind of like backed out at the last second. I remember my friend brought me into like a voice chat, Ventrilo, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, we just don't think that we don't think druids would synergize well. And I didn't know what synergize meant. So I remember looking up the word synergize on Google. And I was like, okay, I understand. Don't worry about it. But I was so freaking salty. Oh my God. And when rankings came out, they were the number 2 team on our battle group. And I was like couple hundredth, right? Like I was like pretty bad, and I was super salty. So I swore, I was like, I'm going to beat them. I'm gonna freaking beat them. And then that's kind of what drove me into getting really good, because I made beating them a goal. And being really bad, it was a pretty steep climb.
So, and just for context, this is like mid high school, like in the middle of high school, college.
Yeah, okay. I think 2007.
Okay.
So
did you ever 16. Beat those guys, and do you remember their names? I mean, you have to put them on blast, but did you ever beat them?
Yeah, they were my friends. Okay. And actually one of them became one of my teammates for a long time. It was Kasumi and Screwed, and the warlock was Alazar. Yeah, I mean, I basically 1v1'd everyone. I like couldn't figure out why I was losing. And I was like, I can't figure out why I'm losing because I don't really know what other classes do. I know how to play a druid, and I kind of know what to do for like how to use my abilities, what orders, blah, 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 blah. But I don't really know what other classes did, what they're going to do. So then I started dueling each and every class until I could 1v1 them. Or if you can't beat everyone as a healer, because if they have any healing like a warlock, you just can't kill. But as long as I can't die, that's good. That's good enough, right? So I would just 1v1 until I understood oh, okay, they're always gonna do this cooldown to this. They're gonna try to death coil me here, or he's gonna go cheap shot into kidney shot. I should make sure I trinket only the kidney shot. Using cooldowns well, and predicting what they're going to do. And then once I understood that, I could start seeing oh, this is going wrong in the fight. I need to do this better, or we need to focus this person. And then things just made sense. I don't know. It's like when you have all the pieces to the puzzle, you can just be like, okay, you can see it very clearly. And then I just started winning like crazy. I remember I picked a random person who didn't have a twos team with really good gear. Because I had a really high, I have kind of high voice. I wouldn't say the highest voice, but it was a lot higher back then, and I was a lot meeker. But people wouldn't play with me because I was a girl. And so I found someone who didn't know that I was female, and I didn't actually use voice chat with him until we were top 20 on the battle group. And when he found out, he was like, oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome. Blah, 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 blah. But it was cool. We got number 1 in a few weeks of playing. I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
So you got really the top 20 without using any voice communication whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive in its own right. But I want to take a half step back. So you're doing all this class work, learning what the classes do in a really early stage of YouTube where there's probably not many guides and things of that nature. So where did that come from? About
looking it up.
Yeah,
figured it out myself.
Yeah, well, that's real. I mean, at a young age, with no resources to kind of figure that out. Where does that come from? Do you think? Or how did you?
From revenge, dude. I have to beat them. How am I gonna beat them if I can't get number 1? I don't know. I always break things down. What's going wrong? Why am I losing? If I can't answer that question, I think it's a problem. I apply that to all games. I think I've just always had a really good mindset about it. I feel like a lot of people find excuses in life and in games, right? You hear, my computer, I was lagging, my team sucks, your comp is OP, I got unlucky. There's all these excuses, and all those things could be true, but there's usually more, right? You can do more on your end. If you're not a perfect player, then I feel like those other aspects aren't that important. And so I don't know, I just tried to focus on what I could do better at all times. And if you just always try to improve, then you're going to get pretty good.
That's a pretty unique mindset that not everyone has. Did you learn that from somewhere? Was that innate? Did you pick that up from your older sister, your parents, or was it just like to be able to analyze and like want to push and not make excuses when in an arena where it's like you said, oh, bad RNG, or that's the only reason why they beat me, to approach it that way? Is that how you're wired? Or
yeah, I think it's just how I'm wired. It just made sense to me. I mean, I've never thought about that for other things, but it's just something that I really wanted. Like I really wanted to beat them. I really wanted to be first. So I just made it my goal. I get really tunneled once I really have like a goal in mind. That's like all I can think about all the time.
Do you remember the moment or the time when you beat them? Like,
yes, I do.
So what happened? So tell us about that.
I was about to glow. I was like, what should I say? What should I say? I was like thinking about it, and his name was Andrew, but his username was Screwed, like SKREWD. He like whispered, and he was like, oh, I don't know, we just can't win. I can't really figure things out. And I felt so bad after he said that. I was like, I didn't even get to glow. You know, like they kicked me off the team before I could even play, and I don't even get to glow right now. But yeah.
So you take down your friend / arch nemesis, but while this is going on, you're still in high school. What's your high school life? You mentioned that, you know, WoW was kind of your escape. Did you have friends in high school? Did you kind of just hang out, get through the day, or what was your everything like?
I kind of alienated all my friends. I had a lot of friends in middle school, and then going into high school, I was like pretty happy, and I kind of tunneled on like having a boyfriend, and the only person I spent time with was my boyfriend. And I mean, I just remember being so insecure, you know, like I like if I had a chart of insecurities, it'd be like max. I was like max insecure. I'd have to like talk badly about other people to make myself feel better, you know, like that kind of insecure person. And it took me so long, I think like until I was 20 or so, that I started liking myself a little bit more. But I alienated everyone, and I pretty much had no friends. I had a few friendly people in high school from like my middle school days, but they were like acquaintances at that point because I like didn't like make an effort. It was my fault. Because I just kind of got sucked into World of Warcraft and got sucked into like my relationship. And when that relationship blew up, I had nothing, you know? And so I like only had games. Man, that's sad to think about.
No.
Sad to think about. Sad to talk about.
No, I think a lot of people will hear this story and relate, and then see, you know, how you've navigated that. But when you talk about being insecure, is it like typical teenage stuff, or did you really feel like, hey, you know, you would talk, so like you saying you would talk bad about people, and like we know each other fairly well, but it doesn't seem in your demeanor that you would do that at all.
I don't think I'm like that at all. I feel like I've changed completely. I mean, I kind of applied my gaming, the way I treat games, into like how I treat myself. Like, what don't I like about myself? Can I change it? And if I can't, I have to be okay with it. And if I can change it, great. Right. So like, I used to be really passive aggressive, and I was like, wait, that's not helping anyone. So now then I turned it to like being too aggressive, and now I'm tuning that back a little bit, you know, like, I don't know. I'm just trying to fix all the things that I don't like about myself as best I can. And I mean, it's a slow process. It took me a long time. Like I was so insecure with my looks that I used to hate wearing glasses. I hate them. I hate wearing them now, actually. But like my eyes are kind of suffering, so I need them. But my boyfriend showed up unannounced, like to my door to surprise me, and I had no makeup on and I had glasses on. I opened the door and I slammed it in his face because I was so mortified because I thought he was gonna dump me like on the spot. You know, I had like bad skin, and like I would like cake makeup on my face, you know? Oh my gosh. I hate thinking about it. It's like making me cringe. But I just couldn't imagine someone loving me like that, right? Who could like see me like that. I couldn't fathom it. And when he was okay with, he was like, you looked fine. Like, what are you doing? When he reacted that way, it actually gave me a lot of self-confidence. Like I remember that moment so well, because up until that point, I just didn't believe it. Like, I didn't believe that someone could still love me looking that way, you know? And so that helped a lot. But yeah, I remained very insecure for a long time.
And then when I mean, because I know it's confidence isn't just like a switch you turn on, but like over time, over
Yeah.
time, like it builds. Was there like other moments along the way? Like you clearly, I bet you could, when you said you were talking about that moment, I could see you like could almost photogenically see that moment.
Yeah.
Are there other moments that like helped you, or did you do things to help build your confidence to get to a point where now you're like, oh, you know, I wear glasses and I'm cool and I don't care, you know, I don't care.
I mean, streaming is pretty nice for your confidence, right? Everyone's there and still okay with you. And I don't know, like winning tournaments definitely gave me a lot of confidence, showed me that I'm capable and that I'm smart. And I think I didn't even feel that confident after I won my World of Warcraft tournaments, because I heard WoW was like no skill. That's what I heard a lot, right? There's no aiming, there's no anything. And then when I won another tournament for Bloodline Champions, a different game, all skill shots, I won DreamHack for it. A few years later, I was like, oh, that's pretty good. that's not bad, you know. Maybe I'm okay at games, because like World of Warcraft was my first game, and I just thought I got lucky.
Yeah, just got lucky beating thousands of people and climbing the rankings. That's just a complete luck.
I thought it was luck. I mean, I just thought I had a knack for like that specific thing. And, you know, even like the class I played, I got lucky choosing, right? Like everything just kind of fell into place. But yeah, I mean, after that, after trying other games, mostly because like when I start a new game, like, you know, when I describe when I first played WoW, I literally couldn't move my character around because I just haven't played a game. And same with Bloodline Champions. When I started playing, they invited all the professional World of Warcraft players to play, and I was the worst one. I was definitely the worst one because I didn't know how to aim, and I was like, "Am I supposed to be shooting at people's feet? Like, where am I supposed to be aiming?" Right? And it took me so long to figure out like aim. Like that's just not a skill that is trainable overnight. But I remember dueling my friend over and over and over and over and over again. I think I lost like, I want to say well over 1,000 times in a row before I won once. Because in that game, it's like better player always. It's like a fighting game, right? Better player always wins. So if you can't hit your opponent, you never win. But I probably lost well over 1,000 times. But I remember beating him, and I started beating him on every class, and it felt really good. And then I was like, okay, I got it. I get it. I got it. I'm good. I can do this. And yeah.
I'm starting to notice a trend where it's that if Hafu wants to beat you, just give her enough time. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I haven't had that drive anymore, mostly because my drive is like my stream now. So a lot of the competitive drive is gone. It's more about like, I want to do this forever. And
you just happen to be one of the top ranked players in TFT, but we're going to get to that at some point. So, all right. So now, you know, you're winning some tournaments and things like that. When does that fall in line with you dropping out of high school? Because I didn't know that about your story. And that's like a pretty big decision to make.
Yeah. I mean, I was winning tournaments during the summer, and for tournaments, you fly out Thursday. And then you play Saturday, Sunday, and then finals are on. Sorry, you play Friday, Saturday, and finals are on Sunday, and then you fly out Monday, right?
Okay.
So something like that. So I would be missing Tuesday and I would only go to school Tuesday and Wednesday. And I also have no work ethic, so.
Oh yeah, no work ethic at all, just training.
I mean, not in school. I have no school work ethic, and I feel like work ethic is when you need to do something that you don't want to do, right? Like getting up when you don't want to wake up, doing something that you don't want to do, like chores or like homework. You know what I mean? Like things that you don't intrinsically want.
So what would you call, like, for you? You've been streaming for a very long time. You do it consistently. If that's
I want that.
But that's not. But if it takes work to do that. So what would you? So you waking up at the same time every single day to stream?
That's hard.
But if that's not work ethic, how do you internally? How do you file that in your brain? That's just that's fun. That's something you want to do.
Yeah, that's something I want, right? It falls in line with my wants. Whereas like homework is not something that is like I want to do ever. I don't care about U.S. history. I don't care about chemistry. I just don't. And it takes a lot for me to like cram that, even though you're supposed to do it. It feels like I'm doing it for someone else and not for me.
Yeah.
And I could never do that.
So,
like, it's
so
bad.
speaking of, so you have these tournaments. You're in high school. How do you pitch your parents? Hey, let me go fly, miss school, go compete for not one day, but for 4 long days, and then miss more school. How do you get that across? I mean, because that's got to be one heck of a sell job.
I promised I would graduate school. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I was traveling to Europe, all over the States, to Canada. You know, I got to really live a dream, right? Like when you think about that, doing that at 17, I mean, I'm kind of jaded thinking about it now, going to events, blah, blah, blah. But like,
what do you mean?
That's a really, I mean, I kind of hate traveling now, right? Like you have to pay me to travel. Whereas back then it was like, oh my God, a sponsor wants to like pay for my flight. I just have to wear their shirt. Like they're getting scammed, you know? And they're going to give me a free mouse pad. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know.
So you're getting to travel as a young kid, but make
money and like, I would boost WoW teams with my teammates, and it was really good money. I made like a lot. I made a lot of money.
What does boost mean? Like you would help them rank up?
Yeah, so they give you their account info, and you get them to high rank, so they get the rewards. So I made a couple, like $30,000, maybe some $40,000.
Good for you.
Doing that. I made a lot of money boosting teams, and it was better because you played on worse characters, so you had worse gear and you had faster queues. Because like we would, it sounds like I'm just bragging, but like we were like the highest rated team, and our queues would be over an hour, right? So like getting one game every hour was like kind of painful, but then we could get paid and play on like.
Like a Smurf account, like Smurf.
It's literally smurfing, but it's like training wheels as well, or like what is it? Not training wheels, like weights, like training weights.
Yeah.
Because you're playing with like way worse gear on like random servers with like crappy ping, right? Like crappy ping for us, and it was good. It's fun.
So you're like, hey, parents, I'm making 30 to 40 G's here. Like you can let me go. Was it an easy, like, was there any pushback at all? Like,
there's a lot of pushback, but, you know, I showed my mom like the ranking site. And back then I think it was like 13 million people were playing WoW. And there was a website that showed like ranking, and it showed me as number 1. It's like 1 in 12.8 blah, 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 blah million, you know, like number 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, mom, it's something I'm really good at. I put a lot of time and effort into it. I have a lot of money, you know, like, and I'm getting paid to do this, and you guys don't have to pay for anything. And like, I have a good track record. Like, just let me do this. I promise I'll go back to school. I promise I'll finish high school. I never finished college. But I promise I'll finish high school. You know, because when I was trying to drop out, my principal and like everyone was like, you know, like people who drop out, they always say they will come back, but they never do. And I was like, I will. I know I will. Like, I won't let myself not finish high school. It's not a big deal. This is just like a once in a lifetime opportunity, you know.
Is this your senior or junior year that you dropped out?
It was going into my senior year.
Okay. And
so I just had to finish senior, like 1 year.
Okay. So you drop out and you're 100% on the WoW circuit. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I only played for a little bit and then actually just like derped around for 7 months. But it was great. I mean, there were like no tournaments. It's because the new expansion came out, and then it completely changed everything, destroyed my class, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm done. I guess I'm done here.
So what did you do for those 7 months? You just would like play WoW?
Yeah.
Not competitively?
Yeah, I don't remember. It was all kind of a blur. It was like, you know when you like blink and like a month goes by, like you have no idea what happened. I think there was like some eating in there. Like every day is the same. Wake up, go to the every day is the same now.
Cool.
You know, wake up, go to the computer.
So were you like, I mean, I have no better way to describe it. Were you like no lifing it, like wake up, eat at the computer, grind all day, and then do the same thing over and over again?
Yeah.
Okay. So then
my parents were very concerned.
So then that all comes to an end, and then what happens? And do you like take your GED stuff, or is the next game come out?
I finished high school. I went back. I basically was a senior with all the juniors from my year.
So you physically went back to school then?
Yeah. I went back to school. I finished. And then I went to college.
Wait, when you go back to high school, are you wearing like a championship WoW shirt? Are you like just blending it?
Embarrassed. I was kind of embarrassed about it because it wasn't cool to play games, and playing WoW was not cool. You know, it's not something you want to tell people about, and it's pretty. It was especially like abnormal for a girl to be playing. Mm-hmm. So I didn't.
Did people know?
Yeah, I think some people knew. My face was on Gotfrag. Gotfrag was like a really popular MLGs or like Halo site, maybe. I don't know. I don't actually know what it was, but my face was on the front page of it. So they were like, I saw you on Gotfrag. Yeah.
So you talk about it was like strange or weird for girls to be playing WoW, and you brought up earlier your first interactions or some of your first interactions. Your friends brought you in because you would get free stuff.
Yeah.
Like when that happened early on, did you think like, hey, this is weird, this is bizarre, or like how do you process that?
I didn't really process it. I didn't like think about it like I do now. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just something that happened. Like back then, it was like get back in the kitchen, make me a sandwich. Those kinds of jokes all the time, you know. And I think the world was a little bit just more toxic back then. Mm-hmm. Actually, on Tournament Realm, there was a team called Gonna Rape Hafu at regionals, and I think I was 17 at the time. You know, like
that was like an actual Blizzard. Like it was.
It was on the official Blizzard tournament server. I think they qualified. And I never saw Blizzard take action. I mean, this is a long time ago, so like. I don't think it was normal to take action on that kind of stuff back then.
Which is crazy to think, but for you as like a 17-year-old going to a tournament, like,
yeah,
I mean, for you to just have to like, you got to go compete, let alone worry about that kind of garbage.
Sure. But I mean, people would always say, it's just a joke. They're just kidding. Like, can't you take a joke? Right? Like, that's what you would always hear. So I don't know. I try to not let things get to me. Also, back then, I just didn't have to read forums. I didn't have to read anything. Mm-hmm. It was just better if I like kind of kept to myself. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a lot of that kind of stuff.
So, and I mean, while we're talking about it, so you're competing at a very high level, you're winning. Like, I'm just going to throw it out there. There's probably a high amount of jealousy and talk about people making excuses and things like that. Mm-hmm. Like, did you encounter some of that kind of stuff? Like, on location in some of these events? And
my competitors were always very cordial to me, and in my experience, from what I've seen, people who have played personally against me have spoken very highly of me. But it's a lot of random people who seem to be very salty and try to like tear down my achievements. I mean, recently with the TFT post blowing up, I talked a lot about not getting a lot of credit in the past. Even in a lot of those threads, you see a lot of people like explaining away like, oh, she wasn't that good, she got carried in her tournaments for World of Warcraft, she wasn't that good at Hearthstone, you're like, blah blah was better. And it's like it's literally going through like each achievement being like, well, this one can be explained away, and I was like, that's like kind of my case in point, like every time. And but I have heard that kind of stuff a lot. It's just gets really tiring. But I mean, I'm way more secure about it now. Like I said, when I only had one achievement, it was like, okay, maybe I did get lucky. I started believing it too. After DreamHack, I was like, okay, 2 games.
Which is normal. I think it's normal to think that, like, hey, it was a good run. Maybe things fell in I think that's normal to think, but when you're winning multiple tournaments in multiple different games. But when you read that stuff now, like, do you just kind of brush it off? Does it ever like settle in for a second and you have to say, hey, this is garbage?
I've kind of I've become so defensive throughout the years. And I remember I got into a fight with David, my boyfriend, Dog, because in Autochess, the game that TFT is based off of, I would play this comp called Dragons, and there's like Hafu's only forces dragons, only plays this one comp, and it's pretty broken. And like, it felt like they were making an excuse for why I was winning and doing well. And I got really defensive. And it's really stupid looking at it now. Cause like it just turned into a meme, like Hafu, Pepega, like Pepegas are dragons. Hafu's Pepegas again. Right? Like, but to me, it was just like, no, every time, right? Every time I do something and I'm doing well, people try to explain it away or be like, she's abusing this, or I don't know. To me, it's like I just get really defensive.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to become better about that now. I'm trying to become more zen about it this year, because you really can't change everyone's mind about you, no matter what you do. And the more achievements I get, the harder it is for people to explain away why I've done so well in so many games, right? And yeah, it's something I'm working on, but I still think it does happen quite a bit. I see it happening all the time. And like I said, I don't think there's anything I can do about it. So I just have to not react. I think that's the best thing I can do.
Because one of those things, like you put yourself out there, you're very successful, you do well in every game you play. And I think it naturally is going to probably stir people up that are like, wish they were as good as you. And then they look, hey, how can I, it doesn't excuse it, but the only thing that matters is how you process it, because you got a show to run, you got, you're competing. So I want to double back here. So you're going through WoW, you're winning championships, and then kind of what's the next phase in your gaming career? Like once WoW kind of wraps up, and does it like segue perfectly into Hearthstone, or how, where does that go from you?
It was Bloodline Champions for a few years, like 2 years. It was just a small game.
What was it called?
Bloodline Champions.
Okay.
And it was, have you heard of Battle Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Battle Right is Bloodline Champions remake.
Okay.
It's like the same game, like with the same characters reskinned, And it was an arena brawler. It was basically World of Warcraft without all the stuff that people complained about. Like no RNG. Everything's a skill shot. Like even your auto attacks are skill shots. Like you can miss your auto attacks. And it was so fun, but it was so difficult and it never took off. But they held one DreamHack, or maybe 2 DreamHacks. I only played in the first one. But my team ended up winning. I think we were the only American team to go. It's actually funny because it's a European game, and Europeans would never play us on any server because they got like 150 ping. And then we would have like that ping on EU server, but we used to chop games for tournaments. Like if it was an online tournament, we'd play like 2 on Europe and 1 on NA, right? To be fair. And eventually they were just like, nah, screw that. We're just only going to play on EU. You guys just have to deal with it. So we always played on EU, and we would still beat them. We'd still like win on EU. And then at DreamHack, we just crushed it because like there was no ping differential, And I was like, what now? It felt so good. And some people had the audacity to try to be like, oh, you guys are so lucky. You got to practice with ping. I was like, we weren't lucky. We were forced to. Thank you very much. You guys were welcome to play on NA anytime.
But it's interesting to hear how your mindset, you talk early about, finding ways not to make excuses. And you could have folded and be like, hey, I'm not playing these guys with 150 ping. But it seems like it served you well throughout your entire career, because it seems it's the right way to do it.
We didn't have a choice. It was kind of I think. Like,
yeah, but you didn't but you could have quit the game. That's true. So okay, so you're playing this game, you're successful again. Battle or Bloodlight,
Bloodline Champions.
Bloodline Champions. And then what?
I went to college, joined a sorority for a few years, and then found out what Twitch was.
Did you drop all gaming when you went to college? Did you stop competing? Did you stop playing?
I think I played League of Legends, actually. Okay. I was playing League kind of casually, and I played Bloodline Champions kind of casually. But yeah, I was like, I decided I wanted to be social in college. So I forced myself to join a sorority, because then you can you're kind of forced to be social.
Why did you make that decision? Why do you think you made a conscious decision?
I feel like I'm a pretty extroverted person. I really like people. And I kind of cut my high school life off. I was very, very antisocial in high school. So I was like, okay, I'm in college. This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. I should be, socializing and partying, and like I should be just living a little bit more normal life, right? And not just like no lifing in games in my dorm room. Because I did that for the first year of college because I was so wrapped up into Bloodline Champions. So my sophomore year, I joined a sorority and just went out a lot. It's a lot of fun. Glad I did it. Now I know. Not for me. I prefer games.
Were you socializing and playing games, or are you like 100% all in the college scene? Did your sorority sisters know that you were into that stuff?
They knew, and they were okay with it. I mean, when I was pledging, I didn't really play, and then once I got in, there would be times I was like, I'm not gonna go. I'm just gonna play games, and they wouldn't really get it, but I was like very okay with myself at that point to be like, I'm good. I'll go out tomorrow. I feel like staying in and playing tonight. And yeah, I think it's just important to like make your own decisions and be okay with, like I was so embarrassed about playing games all the time in my earlier years. And now I don't feel ashamed for choosing games over going out. I never feel like if it's what I want to do, then I'm happy about it. And I'm not going to apologize for not wanting to, do something.
Yeah. So for someone that didn't enjoy homework and studying things that they didn't care about, you make the decision to go to college. What was like, what did you study?
I didn't make that decision. My parents, it's like expected, right? It's like just, and I feel like in American culture, it's really expected to go to college, but especially in Asian culture, it is very, very, very expected. And I majored in finance because I just wanted to get rich and play games. That was my plan.
Okay.
Because lawyers, that took a little too long. It's too much school. Doctor as well, too much school. I just figured like finance, it would pay the best out of college and then get rich as soon as possible, retire, and then play games as soon as possible.
Quote Hafu, get like rich and play games. That's it.
Yeah, that's kind of been my game plan my entire life. And it was my friend told me about streaming, about Twitch, because I knew a lot of StarCraft pros because at MLGs, it was like World of Warcraft and StarCraft 2. So a lot of us hung out at the event. And I was friends with like Inca and itsHafu and Huck, a bunch of the old school people. And they told me that itsHafu was making like $1,000 a day like streaming on Twitch. And I was like, what?
you're like, get rich playing video games.
Yeah. And I was like, sounds interesting. But I actually was really against it because at that point, like totally like they're gonna rape Hafu at regionals. Just there's a lot of garbage. Yeah, I had a lot of bad experiences being on the internet. Just didn't want to be like in the limelight.
I want to ask you something about going to these events. Did you ever have any moments where like, did you ever have fan moments where people were like, oh, that's Hafu and like she's amazing at WoW? Like would people come up to you at these events and say hello?
Yeah. I mean, for the World of Warcraft tournaments, it was a lot of like really diehard fans, but it was mostly like people would go for Halo. So I don't think people really cared about the WoW stuff, but it was streamed online and it got a lot of traction online. Like our matches. I think the WoW matches got way more viewers than the Halo matches, even though the event was like main stage was Halo. But yeah, at the actual event, not really. And I mean, I was always the only girl, and felt a little uncomfortable, I guess. I mean, I'd never been in that situation. Like, I didn't know what an event would be like. And I felt very out of place because the only girls were like booth babes and then me. And I just felt very awkward. But I mean, people are pretty nice in person. No one's toxic in person.
Which, I mean, is usually most of the case. But okay, so sorry, I just had to ask you, like, I mean, you're winning these tournaments, like, but we got to remember too, it's a different time. It's like almost like pre-early streaming. So I just wanted to know, you winning a tournament now, going to an event would be completely different than in the early days.
Yeah, it's so different. I mean, like back then, MLGs were like 2 ballrooms in like a Hilton, like literally, like, like the size of a wedding. So they're pretty small, casual events. Now, we're selling out stadiums. It's insane. I can't imagine playing in front of like that many people. I haven't experienced that for sure.
I'm sure it's just a matter of time, Hafu. All right, so you learned about Idris making $1,000 a day on Twitch. You have like not a great internet experience up to this point. So
yes, I wasn't gonna do it. And our mutual friend, like on this Mumble that I was hanging out on, playing Diablo 3 all day. Oh yeah, I started playing Diablo 3 because it just came out and everyone was like obsessed with it. Like everyone and their mother was talking about it. And I was super uninterested because I heard it was PvE and I was like,
you can see on your face, you're like,
yeah, instantly. I was like, what's the point? I don't want to do that. That sounds really boring. But everyone seemed to want to play. So like I got into it. And I beat the content really fast because the people I played with were like no sleep, no life, and they're like all the best gamers. So like we beat like softcore. There's softcore and hardcore. Softcore is like you can die as many times as you want and you keep your stuff, and hardcore is you die once and you lose everything. But on softcore or on normal, is that what it's called? I don't know. We beat the content like a few hours after the first people beat it. So I was like really early in. And actually like the first million gold, I sold gold, but the first million gold I sold was like, I don't know, like $300, $500. It was a lot of money. And because I had access to the best gear, because you could farm the best gear and there's like real money auction house, I just made like $3,000 in like a week, just like farming stuff. I was like, this is great. This is great. And so our mutual friend who was on the Mumble while we were farm was like, oh, when are you guys going to play hardcore with me? And I was like, okay, explain to me. His name was HD StarCraft and he was a big StarCraft 2 commentator. And I was like, okay, sell me on this hardcore. Why would I want to play, you know, like if I lag and I lose my character, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's all the fun. Like, it's okay if you die. You start over. And it's like, you pour a lot more time and energy into this one character and you'll care a lot more and you get a lot more exciting moments. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And it was really fun. I fell in love with hardcore because you feel like the adrenaline that you get when you compete because you're like, holy shit. I have like 1,000 hours in this character. I cannot let it die. My gear is insane. I do not want to, you know, like just the whole time, like don't freaking die. Don't freaking die. And it's a lot of fun. But he was talking to me about streaming because he streamed it casually and he would get like 1,000 viewers on his stream. It's like, you should stream it too. Like I would watch that content. Like if you're going to do like really, really hard content on hardcore, no one's done this content. Like you should stream it. And I explained, I was like, I don't know, got a lot of crap on the internet. Like you either get put on a pedestal or you get put in the dumpster. And I'm not really interested in either of those, right? Like whenever I played games, unless it was with like someone who already knew me, I never used a voice chat. I never used a female character. I always used male characters. Yeah, I don't know. I just would rather people treat me like a normal human. And
does that come from your experience in WoW and you didn't want to be treated differently? Okay.
For sure. And he's like, okay, people are always going to give you crap, right? Like no matter what you do, no matter who you are, people are always going to give you shit. So are you just never going to do anything? Like if you have content that you're proud of, then who cares? Like, yeah. And that really resonated with me. And I was like, okay. I mean, I did make a couple $1,000. I could just straight up buy a streaming PC and give it a go. And also, it's just making $1K a day. Like, I don't have to get a summer job. That sounds okay. So I gave it a go, and my stream blew up. Like on the first day, I had over 3,000 viewers.
When was your first stream roughly? Like year and month, if you
it
have.
Was June 13th, 2012.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been over 7 years of streaming now. Kind of nutty.
So your day one, you turn on and it's like there's thousands of people there.
Yeah. It's because I think I was pretty famous, especially like in China, because I was like World of Warcraft's like a really big game, and I think I was like the only girl to ever win a tournament at that point. So I think I was rather popular there, and I'm Chinese American.
Mhm.
So I think I think it blew up on a Chinese forum somewhere. A lot of Chinese people, and I didn't know what to do because I never watched Twitch at that point. Didn't know what it was. Never, yeah, and I just modded a random person, and they banned every Chinese person in chat, but I didn't know because they were like, mod me, you know, like I didn't know.
Yeah.
And they were just screaming things at me. So, oh man, I don't know if I lost a lot of Chinese fans that day, probably. But
So you have a couple thousand people watching. You have your first moderator banning people from China, like, and then like when you're streaming, like, do you have any concept of what's like?
No, I had no idea what was going on, and it was so weird. I mean, it was the first time I had done that, and there were like no girls who really streamed. There were like very few girls.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, this is 7 years ago.
Yeah. Does it feel like 7 years, or is it like, man, it felt like a couple months ago? Does it feel like you've been streaming that long?
I mean, life kind of just flies, right? Like you just kind of blink and we're here. Yeah. So I mean, I'm 28 now. I was 21 when I started. I mean, the thing is, my lifestyle hasn't really changed since I was 17. Or so, you know, like ever since my WoW days, it's wake up, go to the computer, go to the bathroom, eat a little, go to bed. That's like always been my lifestyle. So I mean, I definitely have grown up a bit since then, but it still kind of feels like I'm doing the same thing, which is good.
Yeah, like that's my question. Like you seem like you're fired up. You seem like you enjoy day-to-day life. Like, would you say, looking back at everything, you say like what you do right now, if you could have said, hey, to 15-year-old Hafu, like, this is what you're gonna get to do, like, do you still want to do it?
Insane. Yeah, that would be insane. I mean, I think looking back, I would of course be proud of me now. Also, like I got a huge break from TFT, right? That they announced that I was #1 MMR on PBE, and my stream blew up. Oh my goodness!
We're gonna talk about that, but I want to go finish up your first day streaming on Twitch. So you stream Diablo 3 hardcore stuff. Is that what you're doing?
Yep.
Okay, and then you end your stream, and then did you like take a step back and be like,
I was like, I want to do it again. I want to do it again. I think I streamed like almost every day that summer. I streamed a lot.
And then when did you start making money? Like day one, did you make money? Like, did you have everything set up? Okay.
Yeah, I was partnered right away because I knew
3,000 people watching.
No, I got partnered before I even started streaming.
Okay.
It was like instant. But being partnered, you didn't get a sub button back then. Being
Just
partnered
ads?
means you got ad revenue. But getting a sub, oh my God, I had to beg Twitch for a sub button. So annoying. Holy crap. Anyway,
How long did it take you to get your sub button?
October. It took me 4 months.
Okay.
But they kept telling me like average 1K viewers. And then I did that for a month. And they're like, okay, do it for 2 months. I did that for 2 months. And they're like, okay. You know, they didn't even have an excuse. I was like, just give me my sub button. Like, it doesn't cost you guys anything. I don't understand. But there was no structure on Twitch back then. It was just a startup.
Yeah. So you get your sub button, and then like, was it that like a not life changing, but like a eye-opening day for you that day?
I mean, my sub, I don't remember how many subs I had and like how fast it grew or anything. Yeah. It's not like now because Twitch Prime, by the way, if you guys have Twitch Prime, Dan Gheesling stream, use your Twitch Prime. Dude, Twitch Prime is so juicy. Like when Twitch Prime came out, my sub counts doubled. Is crazy. But yeah, back then people actually had to pay $5 real and it wasn't free. And most of my income came from donations. And now I don't need them. So I don't do anything to incite them. Like I don't even have like notifications on my stream anymore.
Yeah. Because I imagine it'd be extremely overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming now. But now I just read them. Like if people donate, it doesn't matter if it's $2 or like $100, right? It's the same. Like you'll get a holy crap, that's a lot. Thank you so much. But you don't get anything. Whereas back then I had like a top donation of the day and top donation of the month and today's donations, you know, like all the buttons, because I needed it, because you made no other money. Like your entire revenue was from donations. Like ads were kind of a joke, right? And I didn't really play them. And then subs weren't like, you didn't really have enough subs to have a living. So yeah, donations were like 70-80% of my income back then.
Okay.
And yeah.
And then when did that change? So you're playing Diablo 3, and then when does it flip over to Hearthstone, or when does the really big flip?
I beat Inferno Hardcore, and then I was like, now what? And I was like, I guess I'll play League of Legends. I was playing it before. And Afromu, who is this popular, he's still popular, he's still a pro player, but a professional League of Legends player / streamer, was in my chat, and everyone was like, Pog, Afromu, Pog, right? And I was like, oh, who's that? And he's like, oh, I'm just here watching my favorite Resta Druid. I was like, oh, cool. And then he's like, oh, we should play together in League of Legends. And so he actually carried me to Diamond, like put me on his back and took me to Diamond. And I didn't realize that you could be carried in games before, because like I'd never had that, you know, I never played
You always
games.
carried other people.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, regardless, like there was no solo queue in World of Warcraft or Bloodline Champions, right? Like you just, I just never experienced it. But he literally just carried me to Diamond. And I remember someone was like, you're really bad. And then I was like, I'm really bad. You're right. I'm really bad. And so I made a new account, and I completely solo queued. I didn't really teach myself. Link taught me a little bit. He's another professional League of Legends player. But I 1v1'd him like many, many times until I finally took a round off him.
Sounds familiar, Hafu.
I mean, I approach games the same way, you know, like just jam it until you can win and like figure out, if I can at least win my lane, then maybe I can, you know, carry my own weight in solo queue. So, I played mid. I played support and mid, but like I preferred mid. And I climbed to Diamond 1 playing by myself. And it was kind of cool. I think I remember gaining a lot of viewers because I was like starting on a new account, and like the climb is pretty interesting, I think.
So you proved that viewer wrong that said you were bad. You're like, well,
no, he was right. He was right, and I agreed with him. And I was like, wait, I should just like, you know, I should actually get good at this game. But I just like didn't have that realization that you could be so bad and still be Diamond. But you can, you could literally be carried. But that was interesting.
So at this point, how would you describe your community as right when you finished Diamond League of Legends, or right around that time? Like, for context, numbers wise, how many people do you think were watching you, and how would you describe the people that watch you?
I think I would guess somewhere like 1,500 viewers. I think I would peak around 2,000. And back then I streamed crazy amounts of hours. Like I streamed, like, I want to say the average month was 240 hours. And I know I'm
trying to do the math per week on that.
That's like 60 hours a week. And then I logged a bunch of like 280 and 300 hours as well. I just streamed and slept. And now I stream like, you know, anywhere between 6 to 9 hours a day. But it's not this. I used to stream like 18 hours straight, and I would sleep for like 15 hours and then wake up and just do it again. But it was really unhealthy. It was really bad. Super bad.
Was there a point when you're like, hey, I can't keep doing this? Like, did something happen where you're like, you got sick? Or but what changed? Like, it doesn't like
I mean, it was Hearthstone. I like, once I couldn't play Hearthstone anymore, like it made me unhappy playing Hearthstone.
What do you mean? Once you couldn't play Hearthstone anymore, like you got sick of it?
Yeah, like it felt like a job. Yeah, that's why I said I have no work ethic. Like
a lot of people would beg to differ on that.
I mean, but
I get what you're saying.
I couldn't stream a game that was more lucrative for me to stream over. You know, I couldn't just do it for money, or like I
could make more money playing Hearthstone than something else. Yeah,
I couldn't do it. I couldn't stomach Hearthstone anymore. And it's not that Hearthstone's a bad game, but the amount of hours I played was disgusting.
So, you know, let's kind of like gloss over that portion of your gaming life, but like hit us with some like So League of Legends then kind of bled into Hearthstone. You were extremely successful at Hearthstone, and that, you know, tell me about that time, because we won't dig into Hearthstone too much because it sounds like you're kind of over it. But like, tell me about.
It's fine. Like I said, I kind of hate on the game a little bit too much, just because I think I should have quit it a few years earlier than I did.
So you get really good at Hearthstone. You're streaming it. Like what did you have the beta access? Because it came out. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I bought beta access.
Okay.
For $100. Best investment of my life. I saw. How
did you
that
buy
Hearthstone
it? You had to buy it from someone that had a key or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just paid someone. Okay. But I just saw that like Hearthstone had a lot of interest in it, and like Crip would stream it and get like 6,000 viewers, which was a lot back then. Like the numbers are nowhere what they are now, right? This is like 5 years ago, right? And there would be like random streamers with like a thousand viewers, and I was like, oh my god, that's so free. That looks so free. And also like it's like the World of Warcraft, you know, Warcraft
that's
lore. Yeah, so it looked familiar. I was like, fire, but like a mage is casting a fireball. Yeah. I know what's going on. And I lost to the Hearthstone tutorial on stream. So like that's why I always thought I was bad at games. I thought I was really bad at games because I'm just like, wherever people start normally, I'm like the dumpster tier because I've never done anything, right? Like I've never played a card game, never played this game. Like when I played League of Legends, I would run into my enemy tower every time because to me, red is bad and blue is good because that's what I learned in WoW. Yeah. But it's not the same case. Sometimes you're the red team and blue is bad. So no matter what, I would run into the blue tower or like, you know, no matter what. And it took me so long.
It's just really funny to hear you lose to his tutorial because it's like Michael Jordan like couldn't make a basket for 10. You know, it's like saying that you know, someone that's known for being a great player, they couldn't do a simple thing. But I think it's like ironic and funny. So
yeah, I think it's great because I think anyone can do it. I was like, if I could do it starting there, I feel like anyone can do it. Yeah. Because like, yeah, and
it just comes down to work ethic.
Sure, definitely the work ethic. I mean, it's just wanting to improve. I think a lot of people play games just to blow off steam, and their intention isn't trying to get better, and that's fine. Right. But I have fun winning and my intention is to win as much as possible. So I want to improve as much as possible. But for Hearthstone, it was a lot of fun, like learning all these mechanics and like thinking in a different way. Like I was talking about this on my stream today, but thinking about like what turn planning is. Like if I'm going to do this turn, what am I doing next turn? What do I think my opponent's going to do next turn? What do I think my opponent has? Like if he didn't cast this card here, he doesn't have it, right? Like that's something that definitely isn't in his hand. Like all these things may sound basic to some people, but to me it was like completely new. And it was like really, it's like a eureka moment every time I figured one of those things out. And it was a lot of fun. But you know,
did you take the same approach to Hearthstone as you did when you were learning Arena, where you would play every class? And did it feel like almost like a same pattern?
Actually, because when you're so bad, like I would watch Crip and Trump and I would pause on their stream, but like I would watch their VODs and I would pause before an action and verbally say out loud what I would do and then watch it unfold. They would just like do the exact opposite of like anything I would ever say. And like it got to a point where I like could predict what they were gonna do, but I also thought I had a better play and for like with my own reasons. And that's when I thought I was getting really good because I was like, no, I think this line is better. I mean, when you can explain your own reasonings, I think it doesn't have to be right or wrong, right? Yeah, it's just like your own play style.
So you're watching game tape of other players, and you're taking their experiences and using that as your own experience as well. And
yeah, I mean, you can literally watch people who are better than you on Twitch. I mean, that's way better than figuring out yourself and just jamming games like an idiot, right? I mean, we have the technology now. It's crazy. But yeah, I just copied what other people. I mean, I do that in TFT too. I just copy what someone who can think a little bit differently than me and watch what they do, try to understand why they do it, and then apply it.
So, okay, so let's wrap up Hearthstone. So you start to realize you start getting good, you start competing, and then what's kind of like the height of your Hearthstone moment on Twitch?
I didn't really compete, but like I was a really high win rate player. I really blew up on Hearthstone when Amaz came out with this challenge called the 110. It was like in 10 arenas you had to average 10, which is really high. Like a good average is 7. That's a good average. And like at the height of, I think my highest average was like 8.7 or something like that, which is like ridiculously high. Yeah. So 10 is absurd. And everyone would try this challenge, and a score of like 40 was good. I kid you not, because once you couldn't feasibly get to 100, you had to like stop the challenge. So most people would give up after like 5 or 6. Or like you'd have to tap out after 5 or 6. I got to 96 or 97, and I was like one of the most successful like popular streamers doing this, and my stream blew up because of it. And that was cool. It was nice. People were starting to give me a lot of credit and like, oh, she's been good this whole time. But like,
you're like, yeah, don't Google me and see everything else I've won in every other games. It's just a matter of time. All right. So you get to a point. When did you realize around what time like you were burnt out of Hearthstone? And were you like sampling anything else, or were you just all Hearthstone? And you're like, I can't anymore.
I don't remember. I think it was like probably 2 years ago that I was kind of getting sick of it. It was mostly just like I wasn't really learning anything, and the games were very repetitive. I mean, they keep printing this, they just keep printing cards. And the cards don't really have interesting mechanics. They'll introduce like one new mechanic, but it won't really be a new, I don't know. It's like nothing new. Yeah. And for Arena, it was like the same thing over and over and over every day. And I just didn't learn at all. Does that make sense? Like, it felt like I never had a Yorick. Yeah. It's not, I mean, like I would have good days and bad days winning wise, but it didn't feel like the losses were in my control. It didn't feel like I could change much more, you know? So it just wasn't gratifying to play anymore. Okay. And I didn't really know what to dabble in because there were no, like all the popular games recently have been battle royales. And I don't think I can learn shooting overnight, and I'm probably too old for it. Like 28 and like, I don't know. I feel like that's something that's probably trainable, but I don't know if I have the time or the effort, you know?
Yeah, you may not want to.
Yeah. I don't think that like Fortnite is my calling. Like when I look at that game, I don't see myself being a pro at it. So I just like don't even want to entertain it, I guess. And all like that's kind of been the craze on Twitch, right? Like and I haven't really found another game up until like Autochess and TFT that kind of suited my play style. And
so what were you playing when you were sick of Hearthstone? Were you continuing just to kind of grind it out and be like waiting for something like Steam, like check Steam every day for something? Or okay, so I
streamed Slay the Spire for a few months, but I mean that gets old as well.
It's PvE. That's not up your alley.
Well, it was really fun. I spent like 1,000 hours on it, but once you play that for like around 1,000 hours, I think it's done.
Okay, so then Autochess comes out. And is there any point in your streaming career where you're like, hey, I'm making this big switch for people watch me for Hearthstone, and now I'm going to start playing something else? Like, does that run through your head at all? Or you're like, I'm good. I'd rather play a game that I enjoy and lose?
I mean, I was pretty scared to leave Hearthstone. I took a pretty big hit switching from Hearthstone to Autochess.
Can you give us context of numbers?
Sure. Yeah. So in my Hearthstone days, I would average like between 3,000 and I think like 6,000 was the peak for like when the 110 stuff. And as Hearthstone died, my numbers would die because like Hearthstone has not been popular. You know, year after year, the stream numbers go down in Hearthstone. And so it wasn't like my stream was dying. It was like Hearthstone was dying. And I was dying with it.
Well, it had a good run. Well, it had a great run.
Yeah, definitely. But
and you're like, my stream was dying too. Get me off this ship.
I mean, but it would have been more successful for me to stream Hearthstone than like Autochess.
Okay.
And David actually showed me Autochess because it's a custom game in the Dota client, and he plays Dota. And he's so addicted to this game. I don't know what it is, but I don't want to play some custom Dota game.
Like a mod. You don't want to play a mod. Yeah.
I don't want to do that. But he's like, no, you have to try this. Like before I was about to get on my stream, he's like, no, you have to try this. One game. And I'm like, okay. You want to show me? Sure. And I play one game with him. And then I'm like, no, move over. I'm playing the next one. And then I play another one as I install on my computer. And then we play for 24 hours straight. I don't stream that day.
Oh, I thought you streamed it. You didn't stream it?
No, I didn't stream it. I just played for 24 hours, go to bed, wake up, stream. And I'm like, I think I'm going to play Autochess today. And then I stream Autochess for 24 hours. It's so fun. Oh my God, the genre is like crack. And it's like a new way to think. It's like what we've needed in gaming, you know? We've had the same game over and over and over and over. It's like, oh, another MOBA. Oh, another MMO. Oh, another Battle Royale, right?
Yeah.
Like it's all the same thing, but reskinned with like one cool new mechanic. Like, great. But this is like a new genre, new ways to think, new ways to play.
How do you describe the genre? Because I've seen it. I've never played it. To me, it's like chess.
So
like you buy chess pieces.
It's not chess.
That fight for you. So how would you describe it to someone that's never played it?
It's like, okay, it's like drafting. Oh, there's like card games that are drafting games that are really popular. Shoot, I don't play them. But it's like you're constantly drafting as you're playing. You're like building a team. Dominion, yes. Okay. Dominion is the one.
Okay.
Have you heard of that? Have you played that?
No, I've never played Dominion.
Oh, okay. So basically, you start with nothing, and then like you have currency, and you just like are getting stronger as you go, like as you progress. But everyone else is doing the same thing, and you're just trying to see whose army is stronger. Mm-hmm. And you spend
your money to buy better players or gear them better characters to like.
So there's like, I think around 50 different characters, and they cost between 1 and 5 gold. Mm-hmm. And the 1 cost units are like the crappiest, but like, you know, that's all you get at the first stage, right? Mm-hmm. And if you get 3 of a kind, then you level it up.
Okay.
And it doubles its health and attack.
Okay.
And it's ultimate. So it's like cool. Like,
you're selling me on it? Okay.
Yeah, it's like a slot machine. It's like a skilled slot machine. And you get that dopamine every time like you hit something, you're like, yes. And you're literally sitting there rolling like a freaking idiot. But it's so fun. And there's so many different things you can do with it. Mm-hmm. And every game is so unique because there's that element of RNG, right? Mm-hmm. So it's fun because there's so many things you can do. Every game is going to be different. Every game's going to feel different. Sometimes you're going to high roll out of your mind and you're going to want to tell people about it. Right? It's great. Oh, it just has the right formula.
I think you found your game.
It is so good. I mean, I think you see how popular it is on Twitch, right? And honestly, like Autochess was not that popular on Twitch. I got my average back up to 3,000.
When you switched to Autochess, what happened to your numbers? Like day
down
one?
To like 1K, down to 1K.
Okay.
And then I built it back up. And in April, my stream was kind of dying. It was like around like 1,500, maybe like 2K only because David was streaming Hearthstone and then hosting me every day. So I was like kind of just leeching. and then
that sounds like a good partnership. I wouldn't call it leeching. It's good strategic partnership.
It was leeching. It's fine. I host him every day now. It feels so good. Anyway,
so your stream's building back up. Are people saying go back to Hearthstone?
Yeah. And I made a clip. I was just saying no, I'm done with it. Until they come up with a new game mode, then I'll check it out again. But as it stands, like this new expansion, it's the same. I looked at the cards. They look cool, but like it's the same thing. Yeah. But okay. In Autochess, I built my stream back up to 3,000 average viewers because I streamed every day in May. And I was like, May is going to be the month for me. I'm going to stream every day. I'm going to have a good attitude, blah, 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 blah. And I did it. And it was a really good month. And then they announced TFT, Valve announced Underlords. You know, everyone wanted a piece of this, even though it was small on Twitch. It just had the right formula. If you played it, it looks like crap. Like when you watch it, not TFT, but like Autochess, right? It's in a custom game. Like that, you know, like when I hear about it, I don't want to play it. And when I see it, I don't want to play it. But when I play it, Yes, it has it. It just has it. It just has it. And
So May was all auto chess for you?
yeah.
Okay. And then the two announcements come out and you're like, what do you do? Like
I was really worried because I was like, I felt like I didn't have time to get comfortable because I finally was getting comfortable, like getting into a rhythm. You know, I was thinking about quitting streaming back in January because I had nothing to play.
Really?
And then
Whoa,
yeah, well, because I didn't want
let's
to play
talk
it. Like
about that.
after Hearthstone, I was like, I can't stream Hearthstone anymore. There isn't a game that I realistically want to play. I don't want to see my stream slowly die.
Did you have this discussion with your community, or is it just all internal?
No, I don't know. It's not something I want to bring up.
So, like, how close were you to saying, like, I can't play Hearthstone anymore, I'm done? Like, are you, like, 25%? Like,
I was kind of keeping hopeful because, like, I think it was in January that they announced, like, there's a new expansion. December, maybe? I think December. It was a new expansion. I was hanging on until a new expansion, and, you know, Hearthstone numbers go up for the first week of expansion, and then it slowly dies, you know, expansion, and so I was holding out for the expansion. I was like, maybe it'll be new. It's a new year. Like, they usually switch things up more. They promised a lot of change, and I played it, and it felt exactly the same. And I was like, I can't. I was holding out for this, and I can't do it. And I was like, I'm going to play Hearthstone for the first week of the expansion. And then by the end of that day, I was like, I'm going to play Hearthstone maybe tomorrow. And I was like, I'm not playing Hearthstone tomorrow. I think by the end of that stream, I gave up. But yeah.
So did you just not stream for like a week, or what did you do? Like, between wanting to quit and auto chess, like, I can't imagine that lined up perfectly.
I mean, it was at the beginning of Autochess. I didn't think Autochess was going to take off, and I didn't know, like, the future of it, but I was pretty happy playing Autochess, and everyone was playing it, so it was fun. And yeah, I mean, I was really scared when TFT and Underlords got announced because I got comfortable. I was like one of the biggest streamers in Autochess. It was like maybe Wreckful was bigger than me. I think that was it. And then
like, you felt good. Really, you felt like you could win a lot of games. I
mean, I was good at the game. It was something I wanted to play, and there was viewership for it. And then once TFT announced, I was like, oh my God, if everyone plays, like if Pokey plays, if Wreckful and Crip and all these big streamers play, I don't know if I can compete viewership wise. You know, like, even having a big game like that is not necessarily the best thing for my career, right? Because instead of being like number 2 in a category, you're like number 20, and then that kind of suffers, right? Like, for example, on expansion day for Hearthstone, I don't even bother streaming on the first day because I will be like 20th on the list.
What's your mindset behind that? You don't want to be 20th on the list because why?
Oh, because you don't get viewers. And then you can't really, like...
But what about the people that always watch? What about the community that watches you?
Yeah, I mean, I have a really nice core community for sure. But, I mean, it sounds kind of toxic to only care about numbers. But without numbers, you don't really have a job, right?
Yeah.
So it is a little toxic to think that way, but...
No, I'm just
kind of gotten me this far.
No, I'm not. I'm just asking because I don't know. You know, like, here's Hafu, like, you're an extremely successful streamer talking about not streaming your main game on the day an expansion comes out. To me, it's like,
because I wait for them to go to bed, and then because, like, everyone goes to bed at some point. and then if I'm the most popular streamer, then I get all the viewers.
I mean, you laugh, but it's smart. It's smart business.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I've always done it.
Yeah.
I sneak myself in when, if like Crip isn't on, if Ties isn't on, you know, like if one of them skip a day, I'm there. Like, I see, if I open Hearthstone and I'm more popular than all the other people on, I get myself on, regardless of how tired I am. Just go, you know, like, it's my time. It's my time.
Okay, so there's the fork in the road. There's TFT and Underlords. Like, do you automatically know where you're going with it? Do you, like, how do you pick a side? Are you analyzing, hey, these people are streaming this, or what did you?
I played both, and I was honest with my community. I'm gonna play whichever is more popular. I mean, that makes sense because it probably means it's a better game.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and better for you.
Yeah, it's better for me and probably the better game.
Yeah.
Generally, the thing that everyone wants to watch is the game everyone's playing because it's more fun.
Yeah.
I mean, some people don't want to hear that, but that's how I feel, right? Like Fortnite is a great game. A lot of people want to play it and a lot of people want to watch it. And that's why it's so popular.
Yeah.
And it might not be for everyone, but it definitely has the right ingredients, right?
Right.
That's why it does so well.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I streamed both and then obviously saw TFT was doing better. So I played more TFT than Underlords, and yeah. So
it's a little bit more than So you're playing TFT, and like I said, I never played the game, but I saw on Hafu #1 in TFT, like, and then we talk maybe half a year ago about bringing you on the podcast, and I always check in your stream, and like Hafu's like exploded since the last that's. So tell us what happened. I mean, you went from like, I didn't know your early context numbers, but let's say 2,000, 3,000, 6,000 to I watched you the other day. You're like 12,000 watching.
Yeah.
Like what? What? That's got to feel awesome. #1.
It feels insane. I feel super grateful every day. I feel like it's important to tell your community how much how grateful you are all the time, and I make a point to.
Yeah.
But it's really a dream come true. I mean, it's the break that you dream about, right? And like we already have the dream job, right? I have the life that I want already. And the fact that I've been able to do it for 7 years is crazy. But having that kind of exposure, like, holy crap, like, I mean, my number is quadrupled. I'm in the last 30 days I've streamed, I'm averaging over 11,000 viewers. Which is
insane. I mean,
that's insane. Yeah. I was celebrating 3K viewers in May, right? Like I was like, woohoo, back to 3K. I can still stream for a living, Yeah. And yeah, I mean, 11K, and I don't know, I peak at like 17, 18K every day. That's insane. Never thought I would see that in my lifetime of streaming. I never thought it would be me. And
so how did that happen? Like, it was a gradual thing, or was it like, hey,
no,
so tell us about that, because that's like, you'll just wake up one day and have 18,000 people watching you.
In PvE, I just got really good. Like, I figured something out, and I figured like a busted strat, and I won like 80% of my games, which is absurd. There's 8 people in your game, so getting first. Like what's like 80%,
what's like a good average for someone that doesn't like a good
like
average?
20%, 30%. I mean, there's 8 people. Think about how often you can win if you're playing against people of the same skill level, right?
Yeah.
You should win 1 out of 8 games.
So you're winning 80% of your games.
I was winning 80% of my games. I was just winning every freaking game. And people had been talking about MMR. So there's this like private Discord where they get feedback from a lot of popular streamers and a lot of high-rated players between Riot and us. And people were whispering about like MMR and stuff. And I was like, I just won. I don't think I've lost a game in like 3 days. I was like, I must be up there. And one of them was like, oh, actually you're #1. And I was like, what? And I made a plea to them. I actually reached out. I was like, wait, this is a big deal to me. Like, I think it would really help my stream, and it would give my, like, I know it's selfish, but it would give me a lot of credibility when a lot of people won't give that to me.
That's not selfish at all.
It is a little selfish.
Well, if you're the #1 player in the world, why wouldn't people want to know that?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's.
I'm just gonna say I don't see it as selfish. I can understand your perspective why you see it selfish. So you'd say like, so what did you say to Riot? Hey, put this out here.
Yeah, I just posted on the thing. So all the Riot employees can't talk in that Discord. They can only like react on, like how you can react with emojis.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's really hard, like, for girls to get recognition, and this would do a lot to give me credibility. So it would mean a lot to me. And then pretty much every Riot girl, like reacted with a heart on it. It was cool. It was awesome. Nice to see. Yeah, I got a lot of love on that one. So it was nice to see a lot of other girls feeling the same as I did. And yeah, because they told me that because of what I typed, they decided to go ahead and post it because they were like iffy about it.
Yeah.
And it was, I thought it would be like a boost, and then I would go back down to like, 4,000, 5,000. and I would be okay with it. But it just exploded and stayed up there, and it has not faltered, and it's been insane.
How has that changed how you stream? Like, so now, like, does it change anything about what you do, how you interact, your community?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I stream every day on a schedule now, which I never had before. If I'm late, I gift out 100 subs.
I saw you tweet that today. This morning. Yeah, like late 100 subs.
My alarm, I set an alarm for 10 a.m. instead of 2 a.m. because I set it while David was watching TV. So like the Alexa got confused. But I mean, I've been really good about it. Okay. I've been on every day and like give or take, you know.
When did you decide to set that schedule?
Oh, before it was like once TFT was happening, I was like, I need to establish myself. I told David, I was like, I'm going to take the night shift. Like, we're not going to be able to see each other very often, but I can't compete with like all these people during the day. Like during the day, I was getting like around 2,000 viewers. And at night I got up to like 6K and like I would average 4K. I was like, okay, the night shift. Yes, I know this. I know this all too well, you know? And so I was just ready to take it. And now that I'm there, it's fine. Like it's a fine shift. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like rely on my numbers forever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just, it feels safe there. So I will be staying there. And it feels amazing to have so many viewers every day. Like, I don't know. It feels kind of dreamlike.
That's everyone's happy. I'm happy for you. So what's your schedule like now? You say the night shift. What does that mean to you?
I wake up at 2 a.m. CST, which is midnight PST. Okay. And I get on by 3 a.m. my time. And I stream until anywhere between 6 to 10 hours, 6 to 9 hours, something like that.
Okay. So it's about what time when you shut it down? Like early afternoon?
Usually like 8 a.m. PST.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay. And so by doing that, like, what is the rest of your life like? Because, I mean, if you're working at night, I mean, other people do it in other jobs. They work night shifts.
Yeah.
So you sleep
Okay. Well, actually, it feels so good because David hosted me for like a year and, you know, we've been together. And of course, like, it's not like I'm dating him for his viewers, right?
Yeah.
But it feels bad being the one always taking, right? It should be equal in a relationship, but it can't be because our streams aren't equal. And he was getting around 4,000 viewers before in TFT. And then I get to host him every day and I kind of built his stream. I actually built his stream. I mean, I think he would be very popular regardless. His content is there, but it's not all about content. It's about perception. Obviously, my content was the same before and after I blew up, right? Yeah. Like literally the same. And then it's also
the only difference is people knew you were the #1 player in the world.
Sure. Yeah.
But everything else was the same outside of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, as far as content goes, my content was the same. But yeah, I mean, I got to help David, and now he streams like after me. I host him I wake him up, and he gets on, and then I host him. And then if he ends before, then we can eat together and then I sleep. But if he doesn't, then I don't see him. But we don't spend any time together.
But that's cool that like for you to be able to, like you said, like, you know, he's done that for you. Now you can do that for him, which is.
It feels so nice.
Yeah.
And he's like, it does kind of feel bad to like get hosted every day, but yeah, give me the host. Give it to me.
So I don't want to dig too deep, but what is it like being in a relationship with someone who's also a streamer, that you guys are both very successful at it? You're both, you know, very competitive, but like, how does that, when you guys unplug, do you guys talk about streaming, or is like streaming off limits, or do you guys like trade TFT strats or?
Yeah, we help each other. I think that's what made us really good too, is because we can talk about the game with each other and kind of we always have each other, can like watch each other play and be like, oh, you probably should have done that instead. And it's nice, like we kind of hang out on like he comes and sits with me for one game, and then I'll go over there and hang out with him for like a game or two.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. It's like we're both in grind mode because it's a new game. This is like the most fragile moments where like the scene is being established. So I'm not gonna take a day off for another month because I really want to make sure that I can, hold these numbers. Cause like it's insane. It's actually a chance of a lifetime. Right. So I don't want to ease up at all. And I think both of us just want to make sure we're good in the TFT space.
Yeah.
So I mean, work is work and it's fun. It's like the best job ever, like I said. So it's like fun work, but it's a little exhausting.
Mm-hmm. No. So you climb your way to #1 spot. Riot releases that. And then how is that? Okay, it's definitely different. I can't relate, but going from 3,000 to 18,000, like your chat has got to be different. Your community, like how do you process that? Because that's a huge difference.
I mean, I make sure that my chat is good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really mind it when they're like making fun of me if I'm being a papega. I think it's important to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
And also like this year I'm trying to take myself a little less seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I still have a really nice community for how many people are in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. And I don't play music on my stream anymore, so I don't hum or sing anymore, which is good. That was like one of the biggest complaints I was getting. So I switched it to like this piano music that my friend plays, Chewy Melodies. He's so talented.
What do you mean a complaint? What was the feedback that you got?
Oh, that I would just play annoying pop music and I would sing along and it was annoying and just like, I would just hear that a lot. So I was like, okay, well, if I don't play music, I can't sing along. And it's good for my YouTube and it's just good in general. It's just Hearthstone was so boring. So I needed music. So like I needed music in Hearthstone. But in this game, like I don't need music in the background.
Okay.
I have enough going on. And I think that's been the biggest change. And like the fact that I have a schedule. I mean, it's a nice problem to have, but I get so many subs that it's hard to shout out all of them sometimes. That's like the best problem to have ever. The most first worldy problem ever. That's a great problem.
Has it hit you that like this has happened for you? Like this explosion?
Yeah, it has. I mean, I've gotten pretty crazy contracts coming my way, and I've signed some crazy ones. I joined a team. I can't say which one.
Okay.
But it's announced in a few weeks coming up.
Okay.
And
am I going to be able to buy a Hafu jersey? Can I buy a Hafu jersey?
I have no idea actually, but I'm just really happy. Just really happy. It just feels like it's feels like a movie, you know.
Well, I think everyone that's watching this, everyone's listening, can hear through how you're speaking and see how happy you are. Because I think this has been great, because I think what a lot of people don't see is all the hard work, your work ethic in doing this and reinventing yourself time and time again, being successful in different games and getting to the top. But it's like the same Hafu, applying the same principles and the same pattern. And I think there's a lot. It's such an interesting story, because you're doing that and you're dealing with, and we didn't even talk a ton about it, but all sorts of BS along the way. And I want to bring that up. And I'm sure it's a little bit tougher a conversation, but you're doing this in a space that's predominantly, it's male dominated. You've had to deal with a lot of stuff. Even at this point, like, you're successful. A lot of people like you. You're a very likable, affable person. You're good at the games, so it's like you kind of bust a lot of the stereotypes. But how has that affected you, and how do you deal with it? And what do you say to other streamers that may be struggling with that? Because I think a lot of people are going to look to you and be like, look, Hafu's doing it and she's doing it really well. How does she rise above that, and how do you process it? Or do you not process it?
I mean, there's always going to be toxicity, right? There's always going to be it. And how you want to deal with that is up to you. I think I do have some boundaries on my stream. People are overly toxic, like they're really asking for it, like they're there with the intention to get banned, right? Like some people really want to be banned. But I think most people mean well, and you just can't take everything too seriously. And it sucks. Some people are going to be rude to you, but there's a lot of love too, right? And I feel like you just have to focus on the positives and not so much on the negatives. And it's so easy to forget that, right? As a streamer, as a content creator, I feel like everyone focuses on that one negative comment instead of the thousands of positive messages going your way, And it's superhuman to do it. Right? I feel like everyone does it, but yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. Right? There's always going to be like you could be day 9. I'm sure day 9 gets as well, and he's like the most lovable person ever, right? Like, and people just angry people are angry, bitter people are bitter. Just we just gotta like ignore it and smile and just I think it's fine.
But being a girl on Twitch that's really good at games, that's successful, streams exploded, like the girls that are specifically may watch this or hear this, like it wasn't always like that. Like you weren't. I mean,
No,
well, it's a little. I mean,
like
you did start with 3,000 viewers, but that's because you grinded your face off and you made a name for yourself. But even with that, like going through what you've gone through, can you give any like tangible advice to someone that may be dealing with this now? Has aspirations to be like you, but is dealing with
to be a streamer or what?
No, like dealing with like some of the stuff you deal with as a girl on Twitch. Like that's not something everyone has to deal with. Like if you're a guy, you don't deal with that. So like how have you dealt with that? And like there's other girls listening now that don't know how to deal with that. You just ignore it? Is that like you have mods that shut it down?
I mean, you can riff off it, you're right? Just poke fun back. Usually like someone like calls me really flat chested, you'd be like, what do you mean? They're freaking massive, right? Like you just make fun of it. You ban it. I mean,
that's like crazy to me that people say that though. You're like,
I mean, they say all. I would say that is a tame comment.
I know, it was hard for me to even process that someone would go into a show that you're putting on for them to watch for free and insult. You know, I'm trying not to be naive, but like.
That's very adorable.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, people want to hate, and it's fine. Like I really say it's fine because, like I said, there's always gonna be that, right? Like, and you can't let that bring you down because otherwise, you're just never gonna be able to get anywhere. It's always going to exist, and it sucks. And I think times are changing. Times have changed so much over the last 10 years, right? I mean, since I started gaming versus now, it's night and day. And I think in 10 years later, it will keep getting better. And as long as, like, I think it's important for people to call that behavior out. And it is, right? Like, I think game companies aren't really letting that stuff fly anymore. Like no one acts that way. No one's like outwardly sexist and like racist anymore. Not like they used to be, right? So I think it's getting better, and it will just take more time. But you just gotta like I said at the start, if you're proud of your own content, then that should be good enough. And you shouldn't let other people try to bring you down because they're just really unhappy. Like, and I used to be someone who's really unhappy that would have to like, kind of insult other people to make myself feel better. So I've been in their shoes and I understand where that comes from. And it's just sad, right? Like I was a really sad human being back then. And there are some really sad, they're probably very, very sad as well. And so they're just not in a good place and they just have to vent somewhere. And it sucks that you're the one who has to deal with it. But that's the internet. It's anonymous. You can't do anything about it. So just don't let it get to you. It sucks. And it took me so long to understand that. But yeah.
Was there a moment that you like it clicked, or do you remember sitting back and being like, I can't let this individual comment get into my head? Because I mean, it's like anything else. It's a process you learn, but you seem like you've had like photogenic memories throughout, your story and your life that like this was a really important moment, whether it's you slamming the door in your boyfriend's face or but was there a moment where you're like, I'm done, like this isn't gonna affect me?
I'm still human. Like I still read, like when I'm salty off a game, like I've come last and I read some trash, like, oh, that ban button looks juicy, and I usually do it, and then I'll make fun of myself and I'll be like, no, you're unbanned. I hate you, but you're unbanned. Like I'm still a person with feelings, and I try to laugh about it, and I try to like call myself on it when I'm just acting out of emotion. And chat especially, oh my god, especially with that, like as many people as I get on my stream, they feed off like your salt. They freaking eat it up, dude. It's crazy. They can pick up on it, and they'll press and they'll press and they'll press. So like the best way is just to like laugh at yourself and like it's the best way. I
Okay.
think.
So as we wrap up here, I'm gonna hit you with a few quick questions and a few questions off Twitter. So real quick, what is your favorite emoji to see on Twitch while you're streaming? What's your favorite emoji to see go by in your chat?
I guess Pog.
Okay.
Pog means you've done something good.
Okay.
Getting Pogged at is like the best thing ever. And like you do something good, like or quick, and everyone's like you just see a sea of Pogs. You're like, oh, feels okay. Oh, you don't even have Pog enabled. Okay.
And then what would be an emoji that you would ban or that you strongly dislike seeing while you're playing?
Oh my god, the girl one. What is a hot pocket?
Oh, okay.
It's like when I'm like, I get a little ranty about like female rights and stuff. Not female rights, but like like some topics when people say dumb things like, oh, you only get girl viewers because you're a girl, or like it's so much easier being a girl on the internet. Blah 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 blah. Oh man, I got so triggered by chat the other day because I don't want to like like Alinity, like the Alinity drama with
the
cat. Yeah. Like I don't think that was right, but a lot of people were saying that like, oh, it's because girls get Twitch more views and views equal money, and so they just let all girls go. And I was like, if you added up every girl on Twitch, we would get less viewers than the top 10 males on Twitch, And it's like, if you added up every single female on Twitch, it wouldn't even equate to 10 people, 10 guys. How do you think that girls are getting Twitch more money than guys? Like, where is that coming from? And I wasn't saying that like it's deserved or anything. I'm not saying girls deserve more viewers. I'm just saying like facts.
Yeah.
And then as I was talking about that, people were getting triggered. I was getting triggered. Everyone was getting
Hot
triggered. Pocket
just going by in the
so much Hot Pocket, and oh my gosh. But just like when I like can't help myself sometimes, and those are really like touchy subjects. Like people don't want to be preached at, and I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So I'm trying to be better about that.
But I think it's different. And one of the things I think I knew about you, but definitely learned through this interview, is you're very analytical. And so even when you're going on that rant, it wasn't, hey, this is my opinion. It's like, hey, here are the numbers. And this is why I feel this way.
I don't know if those are the numbers, but I started adding them.
It's going to be pretty close. Yeah.
No, definitely. I don't think it's close. I think the top 10 eat up every girl. Yeah. Like I think it's a landslide. I would bet on that.
All right, so I'm gonna jump to a few Twitter questions. This one is from Lightford. It says, "What is Hafu? What do you see as your greatest gaming accomplishment from a personal standpoint and competition wise? So, what's your personal favorite, biggest accomplishment, and then your competitively?"
I won a charity poker tournament.
You did?
And I beat Breckful in the finals.
You did?
And it was cool. Yeah, it was for 50K for I don't remember the charity. I feel bad, but it was fun. It was fun because I was playing, and because I'm not really a poker player, I've dabbled in it. But I played the heads up part really well, and I was really proud of my play. And it was cool. That was my favorite one. That thing that I won. And then there was a really cool moment at MLG Dallas where we were down, I think like 2-5 in the grand finals. We needed 4 in a row. It was like best of 11. I don't know why. Anyway, but we needed 4 in a row and nothing was working. They like countered us. And I came up with like a completely bullshit strategy. Basically, like they had been tunneling. They were like mana burning me and like focusing on my warlock, and I was running out of mana, and then we would lose the fight. But they would never switch on to me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear full PvE gear, which is like you're squishy. Like if they look at me, I'll fall over and die. But I will never run out of mana, right? Because PvE is like the healers are in the back; they don't get touched. But in PvP, like you're also part of the fight. When people hit you, you need to not die.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing like no resilience. I'm literally and in the client or in the game, you can see it's different.
Like you look like a scrub.
The gear is different.
Did you run
look
this?
like a scrub, but it's different. I was like, I don't know if they'll notice, but like we're losing, so we have to try this, and it worked. And we won over and over and over again, and we freaking won the tournament. And it was like because it's something I came up with, and I'm really proud of that moment because I was like, I asked myself, why are we losing, and what can we do? I was like, we're losing because I'm running out of mana. What can I do about it for PvE gear? Which is so good. Oh my god, I'm so proud of that.
Did you have to sell your teammates on it? Or you're like, no, I'm doing this.
No, I mean we were losing. Yeah. They always. I actually people always said like my teammates were so good, but I actually really think that I came up with a lot of our strategies. And same in Bloodline Champions, I actually built the comp around myself, around my character, because they kept nerfing my character over and over again until I couldn't become a solo healer. So I built a comp around myself, and then we won the tournament with it. So I don't know, it feels good.
Hafu, not only the player, but the master strategist as well. All right. I got another question. This is from Thralic. It says, this is an interesting one. Do you have a plan on how to turn your success in streaming into something else in case Twitch ever goes under? That's something I'm sure everyone thinks about at some point. Have you thought about that much?
I've streamed for 7 years. I have a good amount saved up because I live pretty frugal lifestyle. Like go to my computer and then I go to bed. Most of my expenses are food. And I think I've definitely saved up enough that like if it does all, the apocalypse happens and I can't stream anymore, I'll be okay for like at least a year or so, and I'll have some time to find my footing. And I don't have any like direct plans. Like I can't see myself going back to college, but I think I'd probably go into day trading. Like I think I'd try to teach myself day trading and do that or something like that.
So go back to make a lot of money and then you would just play games.
I just want to make a lot of money and retire. Like that's always been my plan because I feel like money is freeing, like it's not so much that I need the money for things, but I just want to have enough money so I don't have to worry about it anymore, and then I can do whatever I want. So yeah, my plan will just be to make as much money as possible and then play games probably.
And doing what you want, because we haven't talked about it. And what do you like to do? Do you like to do anything outside of games? And like, you like movies? Do you like work out? Or do you go to concerts?
I don't work out. Okay. I need to start working out.
No. I don't.
For real. No, I don't have that many hobbies. Like, I like music a lot. I used to play piano. I want to get a piano for this place. David got me a keyboard for my place in Vegas, but I should get one for here. We just play games. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're doing exactly what you want to do with your life. So it's not like, what else would you do? It's like you get to do it every day. Okay. This is an interesting one, and I debated not asking it, but this is from Garfin in the Sun. It says, do large gift subs make you feel uncomfortable?
No, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. So like, do you ever feel like, do you remember the first time that kind of stuff happened? Like, did you process it and you're like, oh, thank you? Or was it like ever weird for you? Or you're just like, no, thank you for supporting what I do?
I think for donations, there was a lot more like people felt like I owed them something for giving me money. And that makes me feel uncomfortable because you can't, thank you, but you can't buy me, right? Like that's not really how it works. And I understand how people can think that it does work that way, which is why I'm very happy. Like I don't incite donations. I don't like have a ticker for it anymore or anything like that. But yeah, for large gifted subs, that makes me the happiest actually. Because we make less than like if they were to donate it directly, right? But it's not about the money. It's like about the community, and like that's awesome. I don't know. I love gifting subs. I love gifted subs. Makes me happy, and I'm sure that like, well, I'm not sure, but I would think that people who do that have the means to do it. That it's not a strain on them, right? Because I don't like demand it, and I don't do anything to like encourage it in a weird way, right? Like I'm not like, okay guys, give me some someone give some subs, right? Like I don't do any of that. So it doesn't make me feel weird. It makes me feel really grateful.
Okay, cool. All right, and my last question for you is, what's next? So you told us a little bit you told us a little bit you're joining a team, or you've joined a team. We'll find out in a couple weeks or so. you got your stream going. What's like, is your end goal just to be able to do this forever? Like, what do you?
Yeah, I think like streaming makes me really happy. I love people. I love my community. I love games. I love being able to share, my perspective on games. And I'm really proud of my content right now because I'm not always the best, but I'm really good at improving. And towards the end of patches, I get really good. So I think it's good content. And it's just been, I want to do this for as long as possible. Like, I hope I don't have to quit. If I do, I do. I'll figure out the next thing then. Maybe it's foolish to not have like a direct plan, but I mean, it's worked this far.
I just don't think it's going anywhere. I think it may be on different platforms, but the fact that like it's how people advertise now, it's how people consume content. It's like, hey, it's basically my opinion, which you didn't ask for this to go away. It's people have to stop wanting to watch people play games on the internet. And
well, it's not that Twitch can go away. It's more that like my stream could die, right? Like the individual could fall off because it happens to a lot of streamers. They fade with the game, or they can't transition well, or something. I mean, I almost quit because, like I said, I couldn't find something to transition into. And if that really does happen, and I'm that unhappy for that long, then yeah, I feel like if it's content that I'm not proud of, like I had no content that I wanted to stream. I mean, I'm gonna not stream then, right? Because I mean that's just logical. But as long as there's a game that I want to play, and I feel like there will always be a game, then I'll be okay.
And then my last question is: now after you've been doing this for 7 years, you've competed at a very high level. Like, are your parents like? Are they on board now? Are they like super proud of you? Or
they're really proud of me. Yeah, I mean, my parents love me very much. They got to where they did from education, right? My dad has a PhD, and they went to the best college in China, and they're self-made. Like, they had no money, and they came here. They borrowed it all. My dad made his own company, and like did the whole American dream thing, and it was all from education. So to see their daughter be like, "Lol, school, I'm gonna play video games," like that's insulting. And I totally understand why my parents were so harsh and so insistent. And now that they see that I can do this for a living and that I'm fine, they're happy for me. And I think all parents just want the best for their kids.
Yeah.
So.
And then the last one, I have really last question. Hafu, where did the name come from?
No, I don't have a story. We talked about this, I think. Why isn't it Hafu?
But how, like, you just typed it in a computer one day? It was a random Warcraft name?
I think it was like something I said. Like, it was like baby talking to my boyfriend, and then he was like, "Did you say Hafu? That's kind of cute." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I made it my bank alt, and then it was like my PvP alt, and then turned into my main. And then I won tournaments with it, and it stuck.
There you
not
go.
A cool, not that cool of a story.
What comes from baby talk then? It's like nonsense.
Sure, yeah, just nonsense.
All right, so as we wrap up here, Hafu, where could people watch you and follow you, and what's your schedule? So someone that may be listening to this for the first time, now they know who you are, they want to watch you. When can they watch you? And
okay. Yeah. I stream daily at 1 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/itsHafu. itsHafu.
And then are you active anywhere else on social media?
Oh, yeah. And my Twitter is twitter.com/itsHafu. And I have a YouTube channel, but I have no idea what the link is. But good luck. I'm sure you can find it.
Well, Hafu, thank you so much for coming on. I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot from this, your backstory. I've learned a ton. I mean, just like a lot of stuff you went through, funny stories. Like, it's just, thank you so much for coming on. The whole goal of the podcast is for people to like understand your story and whether they're entertained or learn from it. And I think a lot of people have been entertained and learned a lot from you. So thank you so much for coming on. And
thanks.
It means a lot, Hafu. We get some easy clap in the chat for Hafu as we send her off. So you're streaming tonight at 1 p.m. PST?
Yeah, I go to bed in like 3 hours. Yeah.
So this is your free time. So you dedicate.
Yeah, that's what I said. I have free time from until I think I told you. And then, yeah. Thank you for, do you usually do it at this time?
So no, this is the first time I do it live. You know, so we're gonna see how it goes. I think a lot of people enjoyed it, and it was good to do it live because like the last one I did an interview with Grand Pooh Bear, and I'm like, I wish I would have done this live. And like this is one like if we just recorded this, I'd been like, I wish I did this live. But we did it live because it's cool.
Nice.
But anyways, Hafu, thank you so much for coming on, and keep in touch. And I think you convinced me to try TFT because it sounds like accessible.
I'll walk you through some games. Please, it's really fun.
Can you put me on your back and carry me to what's diamond in TFT, or it doesn't work like that because it's solo?
It does. Well, but
it's solo, right?
But you can share your screen. I can pretty much play the game.
You
can just listen to.
Could we play on the same board? You clear everyone else and then lose to me? Could you do that? Like, how's that? Like, could you beat everyone on the board? No, you'd have to like be my coach.
Probably beat you too. You would die too in the process.
I'm gonna take you up on that. Hafu coaches Dan in TFT, but
anytime.
All right.
Let me know.
All right, Hafu. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you.